is Lucas Spielberg.
And this is Ashton Spears.
And we definitely watch WGS-TV. We're going to own it. Definitely going to own it.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, really. Respect my veteran!
Welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on youtube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I'm the Wrestle Gamer, Double B Willie Boudreaux. Let me introduce the panel for tonight's Monday Night Raw review. First off, he is the studly man, Ashley. Ashley, how you doing?
If this is a panel, can I press the big red button?
Too late, I already did.
And that is the voice. That voice you just heard is the host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, which will be heard exclusively over on Spreaker.com/HWRmedia and YouTube.com/HWR Show. He is the Illuminous one, the Shining Star, Rick Star. Rick, how you shining?
I think I'm shining as bright as two roads are right now, but that's about it.
He's a closet Saints fan, the man from South Park, simply known as Cartman. Cartman, what's up?
Saints lost to Patriots, hip hip hooray.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Who Dat Temple on Instagram, he's James from the Big Easy. James, how you doing?
Any mention of the game last night, I will hurt you.
And ladies and gentlemen, he currently manufactures New Orleans Saints rubber duckies. He's the Bay Area MVP, known as Will. Will, what's up?
We went from football on your phone, to in6. Oh no!
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Monday Night Raw for the week.
Can we get that on a CD? I want that.
That's quite possible. Quite possible. As we looked at the Monday Night Raw review for the week of October 14th, 2013, one of the features of this week's Monday Night Raw was the return of Shawn Michaels to address apparently more about the Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton Hell in the Cell situation. Ashley, looking at this opening segment, what happened with Shawn Michaels?
Basically, he came out and said, you know, people are saying I'm kind of biased in this because I trained and I like Bryan. I don't like Orton. And me and Triple H are best friends. But says that he's going to put it all aside because it's all about the business and finding a champion. And basically mentions that it was the same arena that they were in tonight that Shawn Michaels had the very first Hell in a Cell match with against Undertaker back in pretty much this week in 97.
Yes.
Pretty much. So legit 16 years on. So he brought that up. Hugh Orton coming out basically saying, oh, you know, I know, I can read you like a card, you know, read you like a hand of cards at a poker game. I know you clearly get, you know, you resent me because I'm always going to be better than you, and you can't do anything about it. And Shawn Michaels is like, sorry, were you talking? I wasn't listening. And basically he said, you know, you need to concentrate more on Bryan rather than me. And then he just says, oh, I'll beat Bryan. You know, I'll injure him and make him suffer right in front of you, the guy that trained him. And you'll have to raise my hand in victory no matter what. And during all this time, at the start, he mentioned he's going to be facing The Miz. This comes into effect because Shawn Michaels basically says, okay, all this talk about me saying you'll beat up Bryan and, you know, if I do a screw job, which apparently I'm accustomed to, you're going to make me pay and not have a future in this business. Well, that I think is called intimidation. And, you know, I'm not intimidated easy. And if you're not down with that, I've got two words for you. Obviously, the crowd did the rest. And then Orton went for an RKO. HBK reversed it and nearly got Sweet Chin Music, but he escaped to the outside. And then Miz came from the back and beat the crap out of Orton, a la 5 weeks ago when Orton beat the crap out of Miz in his hometown. But overall, very good segment because it was punchy. It was only about 10 minutes before they went to commercial and that match got underway, but it had the impact that it needed to. No pun intended. It got the story over. It's a shame we didn't see more of HBK, but overall, 4 out of 5. It did what it had to do. It set a storyline, and it kind of was a nice, fast-paced opening to tonight's Raw.
Looking at the opening match on Monday Night Raw this week, it kind of made sense that, with Randy Orton being on this gigundous push right now in the WWE, it would make a lot of sense that he would go over on The Miz. Miz really ain't doing nothing except now for the inception of this gimmick, this storyline between him and the Wyatt family, who appeared during this match. And Rick, I gotta ask you something. Were you at all surprised that they just delegated Bray Wyatt to just cutting a promo on Monday Night Raw with the news of that calf injury that he has?
No, because if you think about it, what does he do when he do these segments, these promos? He's sitting down, which obviously is what he's going to be doing for the next month.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense. While we're speaking on the injury, I'm sorry, but for him to get injured so early in his repackaging, it's not a good sign for him.
I gotta agree with you. Your score for Randy Orton and The Miz?
The match was okay. Nothing special. The added segment kind of added it, so I'll give it a 3.0 out of 5.
Bear in mind as well, he did get injured during his NXT run, because if you remember, they did have those videos for Bray Wyatt, like might have been this time last year or whatever, and nothing came from it because he got injured basically on the NXT stuff.
Well, the thing is if he's doing that, then why the heck is he trying to crab walk like he's Kofi Kingston?
Very
I
good
could say
point.
trying to walk like an Egyptian, but
That's a horrifying thought. But anyway, as we look at the second match, Fandango versus Santino Marella, which was just obviously a filler match, a matchup of not real good significance. There was some entertainment value to it, especially with Santino Marella and the Cobra. Thank God nobody decided to be a Cobra charmer, a snake charmer, or like they did on Friday Night SmackDown a couple of weeks ago with Jinder Mahal and the Great Khali. That was like freaking frightening as hell. But they put Fandango over on Santino Marella. Really not much to say about it. Just, run-of-the-mill match. Can't say that I'm surprised that they put Fandango over Santino Marella, but, I gotta go 3 out of 5 on that one. Like I said, it was just a run-of-the-mill filler match. But backstage, there was a little bit of a confrontation between Brad Maddox and Paul Heyman, as it were. Cartman, what happened with Paul Heyman and Brad Maddox?
Paul Heyman went backstage trying to point out the, well, it should have been a disqualification at the pay-per-view with the logo from Punk. He kept trying to point that out and saying that because of that, he should give name the stipulation for the match at Hell in a Cell. And then Brad Maddox said to Heyman that they were going to have a beat the clock challenge, and if Ryback completed his match against R-Truth quicker than CM Punk could beat Curtis Axel, that Heyman would get to pick the stipulation for the pay-per-view. And before that even ended, Heyman said it was going to be a handicap match between Punk and Heyman's two buddies, Curtis Axel and Ryback. But if Punk beat Ryback's time, that Punk would get to pick the stipulation. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Can somebody please tell me why are we only seeing Los Matadores taking on 3MB? I mean, Will, you were there. You were under the guise of El Torito. Why do you think it's just Los Matadores versus 3MB?
What? El Torito!
Okay, long story short here, sorry about the noise in the background. I just think this is a insurance policy with the WWE to make sure that their new talent they have, not new talent, we all know this is Epic or Primo, but to a 10-year-old, they're just bullfighters. Just bullfighters. But I guess they don't want to give a certain push to Los Matadores right now. I love their new finisher. They beat 3MB for this is the 3rd or 4th time they beat them already?
In a row.
more or
No,
less. I'll give it a 3, but I want to see down the road like Los Matadores go up against the Real Americans or maybe the Wyatt family down the road. But 3 and B, they're just hanging out to dry. This is something Rick
Who
would
did
say.
who did Los Matadores face on SmackDown this past Friday? Because it wasn't 3MB because they were in another match.
They fought Los Lucos.
Los.
Oh yeah,
Gonzalez, it was
Ricardo.
Yeah, basically.
Ricardo.
Carl Rodriguez and Tyson Kidd.
Yeah, Los Locals, if I'm not mistaken.
Locals, I don't know. I don't know how to
Locales.
something like that.
El Torito! That's all that matters. El Torito! Hashtag El Torito!
Anyway, Billy, I'll give it a 3. I just want to see where this leads. A push, maybe for the tag belts. Who knows?
Well, up next we had Triple H and Stephanie McMahon out in the ring. They want to do the follow-up to the incident that happened between them and the Big Show last week. And Triple H is basically saying, "You guys want me to be the bad guy? Fine, I'll go ahead and be the bad guy, and anyone who gets in our way better beg for their jobs." And the next thing you know, Daniel Bryan's going to come out, and what we thought was going to cut a promo against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon turns out to be a setup for a match because Alberto Del Rio just assaulted Daniel Bryan from behind, and lo and behold, sometimes, just like Rick said at one point, World Wrestling predictability, and that's the way it went out. Alberto Del Rio versus Daniel Bryan for later on tonight. James, really not much to be said about this segment.
Not really. It's just that it's basically Triple H and Stephanie just getting more heat on them for being the authority. That's what they call themselves now, the authority. No, is it the authority?
Yes,
But anyway,
The apparent.
yeah. But basically, it's like them just.
Oh my god, I was about to make that comment.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, but it's just them with saying, getting the heat, putting up the feed, and then just having a match really.
You know what Triple H should have really said in that segment?
What?
Say hello to the bad guy.
Ash, I'm sorry, but I have to correct you on that one. He should have really said, "You people need to respect my authority."
Well,
I don't think Triple H is friends with a fictional character.
in the first Beat the Clock challenge, this was set for Ryback. Ryback set to take on R-Truth. They're gonna use this to set the pace for the CM Punk Curtis Axel match, and I gotta say, it wasn't really a bad match, Ashley. I mean, looking at the time, 5 minutes 44 seconds. I mean, they weren't trying to make it blatantly obvious that they wanted CM Punk to go over, but we'll talk about that when that happens. But setting a pace for 5 minutes and 44 seconds in a Beat the Clock challenge is really a hard challenge to overcome.
Yeah, because normally when you have the Beat the Clock things, you've obviously got way more people than basically 2 people challenging for the belt, or 2 challenging for the time and everything. So making it go out 5 minutes was good, mainly because it also acts as filler as well, because obviously it didn't need commercials. It's just a 5-minute segment of just pure wrestling, and it was a good match between the two. Definitely, it could have been a squash match if they wanted it to be, even just with the 5-minute thing. But they did let R-Truth get in some offense as well, so applause to that. But overall, just a 3.5 out of 5, because that was 344 seconds of wrestling that we didn't get with Fandango and Santini.
Tons of funk and the Real Americans. The big thing that's been happening as of late, Rick, was this huge phenomenon. Ever since Cesaro started doing this huge big swing, or they're calling it the Cesaro swing, it's really been getting a positive feedback from the crowd. Anytime they see Cesaro on TV, they want to see the big swing. Do you kind of get that same vibe too? That anytime you see Antonio Cesaro wrestling on TV, you expect to see the big swing from him?
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. Absolutely. But what I think what they're trying to do is, I don't think we saw tonight. I think what they decided to do was just go with his neutralizer, which is also a phenomenal move. So I think they don't want to give it to him every time, because if you give it to him every time on every single wrestler, it's not going to be as much as a pop.
However, it was done after the match was over, if I'm not mistaken, against Tensai. Now, normally we would see a huge swing, 20 revolutions or more, but with Tensai and his body type, it was kind of, expected to see a less than stellar big swing, but he still accomplished it.
Plus, you know what the real purpose of that match is?
What?
To put over Antonio Cesaro and make, Spliff McBongo look like fucking shit.
Okay. Well, in a matchup set up. Oh, by the way, Rick, what's your score for Real Americans and Tons of Funk?
I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I really didn't catch the whole thing, so which is why I didn't catch the post-match situation. For what I saw, I'll give it a 3. Again, nothing special.
In a matchup set up by Stephanie McMahon backstage, Tamina with AJ Lee in her corner set up to take on Brie Bella, but with no Nikki Bella in sight. I want to say this right off the bat. For the longest time here on WGS-TV, I've given the Bellas the hardest time because, yeah, they got the look, they're great eye candy, a lot better than Oksana, but in-ring work, it was kind of like mediocre. Oksana's terrible, but Brie Bellas are above Oksana. Brie Bella, I gotta say, one thing I've always wanted to see from the Bellas in-ring work is like a lot of passion into it. A lot of rage, a lot of passion into it, and I got that from Brie Bella tonight. Not only was she executing moves a lot better, but she was selling them a lot better than we're used to seeing. I was very impressed, Hartman, with Brie Bella and the work she did with Tamina tonight.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't see much of the match because, as a typical theme, this match shit becomes a piss break, and yeah.
That's the problem, though. Tonight it wasn't. It was actually a decent showing. It's the after-match antics that just made it why.
Yeah. Can I explain that part?
Go ahead.
Really, it's just I'll be as you would say, Billy. I was surprised at Brie Bella's how it is, but I always feel like Brie Bella is better than her sister. In a way, let's say that. But I mean, she shows impressiveness with the fact that Tamina, but I but I don't kind of understand the ending. Like Tamina wins with the big boot, and then all of a sudden you get like Tamina and AJ beating up Brie Bella. I think that could set up another Divas title match between the two.
Yep.
Who was refereeing them?
I'm not sure.
It wasn't the black referee, if I'm not wrong.
I think it was the Asian.
No, it wasn't the Asian referee.
Wasn't the Asian guy?
No, it wasn't the Asian guy. If it's the Asian guy, then I would have known already. But I think it was like either.
Was it the one that looks AD?
I think it might have been the one. You remember the one from Extreme Rules that came out after and had the head senior official call that reverse the replay and reverse that decision.
Oh, so it's the NFL referee. Okay.
Anyway, I'm not too sure.
Back on the platform.
James, how would you score Tamina and Brie Bella?
I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. It's just the beatdown kind of like it kind of lowered down for me though. But I like the match.
Match 7 of Monday Night Raw this week was the CM Punk Curtis Axel Beat the Clock challenge. Of course, CM Punk only having 5
And we're
minutes.
only just into the third hour here.
Yeah, at this point, yes, Ashley is correct. But with this match, CM Punk only having 5 minutes and 44 seconds to beat Curtis Axel with. He brought it down just to 11 seconds, but he was able to win the match. And what I have to consider, Monday Night Raw was just kind of, it was just kind of there. It wasn't a bad show. It was kind of average. And then at that moment with CM Punk, especially when he announced the stipulation for the matchup between him and Ryback, apparently he changed it up quite a bit because now it's a handicap match. CM Punk to take on both Ryback and Paul Heyman, and then what made the crowd go nuts and absolutely insane is that the fact that CM Punk also announced it to be a Hell in the Cell match. Will, what was your reaction to that?
I am just gonna be shocked as ever on this one.
For a minute, I thought he was reacting like Ted DiBiase.
Oh, God.
No, rather Paul Heyman looked like he was gonna lose his hair. I mean,
Walruses don't have hair.
oh.
They have
So
dust.
I just, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I thought 3 little words when I heard that.
Well,
Oh my God!
yeah,
I'll
I would my Joey Styles impersonation, but I'm a little under the weather, so I can't do it.
It's okay. I'll just give Paul Heyman a 1.5 for his little bald hair spot, and priceless look on his face towards Hell in a Cell, a 4 out of 5 because he's getting his ass handed to him.
Well, match 8 of Monday Night Raw was a matchup that was made earlier by Stephanie McMahon and Triple H via that segment with Daniel Bryan. Alberto Del Rio and Daniel Bryan. I gotta say, this one kind of, it was kind of like, you know, we're on an upper roller coaster and everything was going up, and boy, did this match really make both Del Rio and Daniel Bryan look good. But I gotta ask you something, Ashley. Did you see, you know, did you figure in at any point that we would see some out of Randy Orton, you know, especially the way what they did, having Randy Orton going into the trainer's room to kind of scare the Bellas? We heard the Bellas scream.
I thought there'd be some kind of gamesmanship because Orton, I think, realised I can't basically shake off HBK and make him in my corner. So what's the best thing to do? Worry the opponent. And so if you have to do it like that, you do. Okay, it's rather similar to WrestleMania 4. Except it's kind of role reversal in which the one that actually cares about the woman, or the one that's in a relationship with the woman actually is the one that has to make the run back and whatever. But it did what it had to do on the piece of paper, but it was important to make both of them look strong, given that in 13 days they're both going to be in title matches. One thing that I did, I don't dislike, but like at the same time, is they did have about 3 Cena promos throughout the night, reminding everybody, look, he's coming back, woo!
Yeah, but let all Cena haters come out there with your comments, come on.
I'll make one now. Cena, the only reason he's any good in the WWE is because he got a push from when he was first joined the company. I hate Cena. Always will.
He is coming back to possibly back anybody else.
As we remind Cartman to plug in his headphones.
You need somebody to challenge Monsieur Del Rio, even though he's a friend. You need somebody to challenge him. It's credible. And now that RVD's gone, there's nobody left. Because Sheamus is injured, Big Show's out, Undertaker comes back when he's come back from the boxing.
Your score?
I'll give it a 4. A good match.
Main event match, which was scheduled to be the Shield, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns defending the tag team titles against Goldust and Cody Rhodes, with the newly added stipulation that it was going to be a no disqualification match. And people looking at that, thinking on paper, they're going to put the titles on Goldust and Cody Rhodes, but how are they going to do it? We were speculating, throughout the night. We know the tag team title match was going to happen, and we're all figuring that there was going to be a title change, but we had to figure out, exactly how they were going to do it. And I think the option that I talked about actually did happen with the appearance of the Big Show, knocking out both Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes goes for the disaster kick, misses on Roman Reigns, but then Roman Reigns made the mistake of taking his eyes off the Big Show, gets knocked out for his troubles. Cody Rhodes then pins Roman Reigns. Goldust and Cody Rhodes are the new tag team champions, and the crowd went absolutely nuts, just as well as Triple H going nuts as well in the ring, absolutely livid that the Shield lost the tag team titles to Goldust and Cody Rhodes. And I gotta say, the appearance of the Big Show might have been predictable, but I will say this, Rick, this was a great main event for Monday Night Raw.
Absolutely. When you heard the no disqualification, a lot of people are probably thinking, that Dean Ambrose is getting involved. But of course, there was the Big Show factor, which a lot of people expected. I mean, I was really hoping that that the Rhodes won, and of course they did. I was hoping that WWE wouldn't say, well, gee, we're going to wait for a pay-per-view to win. For once they did the right thing and said, hey, we're going to turn the titles over to Raw. Because, let's face it, Raw's ratings have been hurting, so they kind of needed that little, boost, I guess. And it was the right time. It was the right thing to do. Great match.
Your score?
My score is definitely, I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to find out everyone's overall score and what their picks are for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw. And for me, it is quite obvious the tag team title match is the best match of the night for yours truly. It had a lot of excitement. Even though it was a little bit predictable with the appearance of the Big Show, they executed it perfectly. And it was an awesome match, great crowd reaction, especially after the match was over and Triple H being livid that the Shield lost the tag team titles. His plans didn't go the way that they wanted it to. I gotta say, it was great to see that. I mean, it was a fantastic way to end Monday Night Raw. It was a great main event. Worst segment of the night? You know what? I honestly, for me, I don't have one. To be honest, I don't have one because there's nothing really that I can nitpick about. Other than the fact that Fandango and Santino Marella, I really didn't see the point to it, and it was just kind of blasé to me. So you know what? It's not out of disrespect to Santino Marella. A lot of disrespect to Fandango, Johnny Curtis. I fucking hate you. You're stupid. You're retarded. I don't want you in the WWE. You can go cry over your spilled milk about that. But you know what? I'll go ahead and make that my worst match of the night. Fandango and Santino Marella. And with that, my score will be a 3.75 out of 5. It was a really, really good show. Despite the fact that, there were parts of the first hour that I had to miss due to family circumstances. But anyway, that's besides the point, as now we go to Ashley and find out his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw.
For me, overall, it has to be a 4 out of 5. Just a great show all around. I don't even have to give a match or segment of the night, because I'm giving the entire final hour a segment of the night.
Really?
The Punk match I thought was very well done, and the announcement with it. The Del Rio Bryan was very strong, and tag team title was match. If you had to do that, that was probably match of the night. But I'd say the entire last hour was something that I wouldn't mind paying for on a pay-per-view. Worst segment, which in kind of retrospect is a bit cheap, but also sensible for me because I know my gaming. The advert for the John Cena racing video game app on iOS and Google and all that. Mainly because that game looks just as good as the Fast and the Furious game that came out for consoles. Except people had to pay $40 for that and get the WWE game for free. So in retrospect, the Fast and the Furious racing game gets worst segment of the night because it was made to look shit by the thing you get for free from John Cena on iOS and Android.
It's now time we move to the Illuminous one, the Shining Star, Rick Star, and get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw.
You know what? I'll go with Ashley on that as far as the best segment. You know, I'd have to go with the last hour of the night definitely was the best. Unfortunately, if you mirror that, the first hour was kind of shit too. And you know, a lot of people are gonna say, well, you know, what about HBK and the Randy Orton segment? I'm sorry, that segment for two, you know, big stars like that, I thought it was very just run of the mill. I was not impressed with it. That's just me. You know, that's only my opinion.
You are Zero, my hero.
But you know, there was also a couple of the first couple of matches just was just junk. Things did pick up later on in the night, so it wasn't too bad. So it's right down the middle. I gotta give it a 3. It's just, I wish I could say it was really great because the last hour, if I gave it this the last hour alone, I would give it a 4.5 because they were all great. But the first hour and a half, almost 2 hours, is just, you know, la-di-da.
Well, he's been currently enjoying his Fandango ice cream bar, but it's now time to find out Cartman's overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw.
I have to go with the last two people. Best segment thing would be the entire third hour. Because that's what made Monday Night Raw what it was tonight. The first hour, like everybody else said, terrible. No, not good. But yeah, I'd say overall, I'd say a 3.5, just because the first hour wasn't that good. But third hour made up for it.
Well,
Actually, I'd like to make a correction. I think I found my worst segment. JBL. Talk about the fucking matches, not doing random shit. And plus, Xavier Woods. You don't know who Xavier Woods is. You're the general manager of NXT, and you don't know who he is. And they're
I don't
pushing
know
him
who
like
he is.
crazy on there.
Who the hell is he?
Yeah, but you don't watch. You have an excuse. You don't watch NXT, Rick. He's the general manager of the thing.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
All right, let's head over to
supposed to know that part.
Yeah.
Well, then, so he's just ribbing the guy.
Well, let's head over to the Hoodad Temple and James and the Big Easy and find out his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw.
I want to make a correction I said earlier in the video. The referee was not the one that did the replay. The referee for the Divas match was actually Chad Patton, the one who got the brogue kick in 2012. Remember the one that Sheamus got fined? The one Sheamus got fined $500,000. It was that referee, and he was the referee for the tag team match, tag team title match. But that is my best match of the night, was the tag team. I mean, I didn't expect them to. I didn't expect them to go as high as they did, like with Battleground, because I felt like this was going to be the same thing with Battleground, just with the added no disqualification rule, and that's how it was. It was a great match, and the crowd was behind like throughout the whole match. My worst has to be Santino and Fandango. I just didn't know why they put it, but that's what they put it. And my score would be a 4 out of 5.
And finally, we go over to the Bay Area MVP known as Will and get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw.
Alright, overall score 3.5. Best segment. Brad Maddox actually had a voice in telling Paul Heyman off. Wow, so I guess he is a big kick now. What'd you do, Maddox? Put on your Huggies and then took it off? Anyway, best match? Yeah, tag team match, of course. I mean, I honestly didn't think that Cody and Goldust were gonna win, but they did. Worst match? Yes, I'm sorry. Santino and Fandango. Yeah, I'd rather kick it at Rick's house for an hour than watch that match again. And another segment that you guys forgot to mention, after CM Punk mentioned the stipulation, you notice he took off his tail and he actually had a big bald spot? Yeah, poor Heyman. Dude
He was
had
bald?
a bald spot. He has a bald spot. He has hair, but he just has a bald spot. Big as an egg, I'm sorry.
Oh, he's got a hoop.
Whatever you call it, I don't know. And
It's called nail pattern baldness. You get to know the other terminologies, unfortunately. You'll know it when you get older.
God.
I'll be bald by then anyway, so shit. And that's pretty much it there. Poor Heyman.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, what we want to know now from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week. What was your overall score, and what were your picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw? We want to hear from you guys out there. You should put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. Rick, where can fans check you out on HWR?
Of course, they can always find me on my Facebook page. That's facebook.com/hardcore wrestling radio. And anytime you want to listen to any of our shows, head on over to Spreaker.com/HWR media. And if you ever want to listen to any of our archive shows, make sure you head on over to our YouTube page at youtube.com/HWR show.
When he's not watching My Little Pony while playing Minecraft, the man from South Park, simply known as Cartman, is on YouTube at youtube.com/KillerXKenny. Cartman, what you got coming up?
Minecraft, and more Minecraft. Because Minecraft is amazing.
Let me guess, you like Minecraft.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, one idolizes El Torito, one gave TNA the idea for Black Machismo. It's the Bay Area MVP known as Will and James and the Big Easy. Guys, what you got coming up?
Wait, huh?
I don't know what this My Little Pony is. Come on.
Anyway.
Oh man. Nothing else really coming up right now. Of course, to those who are probably still wondering about the Bray Wyatt injury, we will keep you posted on HWR for more details. And James, you're the one that's gonna get that duck, aren't you?
Oh God.
No, I'll be nice to Billy. But anyway, we're not on Instagram. We're taking a break, but you can find us on the Hardcore Wrestling Facebook page and the WGS-TV Facebook page, and also we're gonna be talking football and Bound for Glory. Remember, Bound for Glory this Sunday.
Yes. Join the Dixie train. Yeah, right.
God. Hey, I'm already under the weather. You want to make me
Warning, may
sicker?
not be suitable for minors.
Yeah, and Ethan. Anyway, fans, also don't forget to like the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/WGS-TV, and don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network. So for the Studley Man, Ashley, the Illuminous One, the Shining Star, Rick Star, the man from South Park, simply known as Cartman, the Bay Area MVP known as Will, and James the Big Easy, I'm the Wrestle Gamer, Don't Be Bully Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching, reminding everyone that tonight's Monday Night Raw review has been brought to you by James and the Big Easy's brand new charity, Chair Shots for Plonies.
Come back to me. We're going to find Daisy
I'm not saying
Also,
no word.
this is not.
Go ahead.
No, you do your bit because mine doesn't. Mine.
I said I'm not gonna say a word.
This is where I normally do the funny bit, but screw it. Serious. Buy WWE 2K14 just for the streak mode. And no, that isn't meaning stripping naked. God, imagine if that happened with Big Show tonight.
Oh, God. Ugh.
Stone Concerts. Stone Concerts. Stone Concerts. Stone Concerts. Spiritual speaking. Stone Concerts. Stone Concerts. I'm Haley Ringrose. Stone Concerts.
My name's Andrew Weatherall.
Spiritual speaking. Stoke Concerts.